when I think of weightlifting, this is the person who I think of, okay? Jonathan is a master category Olympic athlete representing Malaysia in international competition. Now, you don't hear much about him because he's a very, very humble person. That in fact, on 2019, Jonathan is a gold medalist for our Commonwealth and Pacific Rim Master Weightlifting Championship. So gold medalist. I'm sure that KBS should take note and start compensating that.
Should
We're
give you
going
a
to tag
doctorship.
KBS. Exactly.
Oh, we
Exactly.
can keep waiting like our SOPs for gym, Unfortunately.
Right. So that's just the highlight of John. Jonathan is also the founder and co-owner of CrossFit Malaysia and his gym PushMore. So Noel and I humbly and graciously welcome Jonathan Wong.
Thank
Welcome,
you, guys.
Jonathan.
Thank you, guys.
And
Thank you for
actually,
having me on board.
I know Jonathan so long ago. I'm just trying to think. Were you in the same batch as my Ace PT or the batch before me?
I believe it was the few batches before you. I think so. Noel and myself, and also Alvin, we've all come through the same sort of structure of doing our ACPT course when it was introduced in Malaysia. So, fun fact: I was student 001 for Fit Malaysia for the ACPT course. I have the receipt somewhere. 0001, first student sign up.
Wow. And if anyone's been to I do still call FITM right now or FEA. If you've been there, I believe all the photos are still there. You would see Alvin's photo, you would see John's photo, you would see mine somewhere, but it's probably further way back because probably the photos are fading. I remember a few years ago, someone asked me, Noel, do you have a new photo? Did anyone ask you for that? Because mine was like fading, I think. I was like given some really lousy photo. But that's it. So we go a long way back, and it's interesting, right? We all started off in that PT personal trainer journey.
Yeah.
And here we are. And I was telling Alvin that day, like, okay, great, we have John on our show, and now it's called Two Guys and Their Gym. And I told him that actually now we have three guys in their gyms.
Right.
And it's true, the journey that we have, and from being passionate about fitness, and then that passion very often leads to us wanting to help other people go through that same journey that we've had. That's how Alvin, I, and maybe your story, we'll probably get to hear a little bit more about that as well. I want to ask you, Jonathan, as in, like, now that the gyms are open, are you guys already doing your classes yet? Because some people like immediately rush into opening, and I know that some gyms and some facilities are not open yet. They're waiting for the right moment. But are you open yet? And like, how are you feeling about all of this? I sense the frustration in you. That I have it in me, like bottled up, but I think I've let it go already at some point. But it is frustrating. But here it is. I think we're at the point where I think they can't lock or shut us down anymore. Like, that is it. I think it's over. I have a huge sense of relief. But how do you feel about this whole thing?
Well, I think we've been in this situation coming to almost a year and a half already, right? So in a sense, I've kind of made my peace in the sense that there are things that are within our control and there are things that are not within our control. So the things we should focus on are what we can control. So like and really like how the pandemic plays out, how the whole situation's run. A lot of it is out of our hands. So like how I feel is that okay, I've got my frustrations with the whole situation because from last year until now it's been kind of on off kind of situation. We had the first MCO, then we came out of it, then kind of working to try and adapt, and we're all scrambling around trying to figure out how to work things out. And then things are kind of picking up again, and then there's another kind of mini lockdown, and then it goes. So it's kind of this start stop, which I think many business owners, not just the gym or fitness industries, kind of having the frustration with. So I think for me, it's like, okay, let's focus on what's within control. So a lot of it is kind of thinking, okay, kind of being frustrated with the situation that we can't open our gyms. It's not going to benefit anybody in that sense, right? It's going to create stress for me, and I'm not going to be able to be productive or even helpful to people who are working with me in terms of their goals, right, in terms of fitness goals or performance goals. So then that got me thinking, okay, let's see how we can shift or how I can work differently or adapt. So it's definitely been very character building period of time, and I've definitely learned a lot in terms of, okay, different ways of doing things. How can we adapt to working remotely? We've got some people have equipment, some people don't have equipment. Some people at home with kids, family. Time is time by yourself is a bit of a luxury.
Yeah,
So
so true.
it's all these things. So I've learned a lot in that sense. So to answer your question whether PushMore is open yet, the answer is no, because I'm not in a rush to kind of reopen doors, because I've kind of been looking at, okay, quite a few of our current active members have been already adapting to working remotely and working at home, and not everyone is 100% comfortable coming back to the gym either. So it's like, okay, is it valuable for me to open the door straight away, right? Because if I open the doors, I need to be there. If I'm there for, let's say, 10, 12 hours a day, am I creating value there? Right. So these are kind of questions that I kind of look at, and it's kind of specific to the current clientele and people that we're working with. And this may not apply to everyone. This is just in my situation. It may work for some people, it may not. If you're talking about a large commercial gym, it'll be different, because PushMore is a very small, much smaller community-based gym. So it does allow for a certain amount of flexibility in how we approach things. So frustrations aside, I think the takeaway so far for me personally has been a lot of growth in kind of like learning how to adapt, learning how to do things differently, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to be forced to kind of adapt in this situation. It's only bad if you resist it. Right. So if the flow is going in a certain direction, then if you keep resisting the flow, then there'll be a lot of frustration. But okay, the flow is going like that. Let's see how we can adapt and use that flow to kind of push us along the path. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, that's so true. I love what you said, and I love how that you guys are not rushing into a reopening. But yes, it's true. Like the bigger clubs have to reopen, and the fact that you have a community that you've prepped them so well that they're not like, we need the gym or we can't survive. You've prepped them so well that they have adapted. You are coaching them remotely, and no rush to open. And I really love how you also said that you have done a lot of learning during this time. I always tell people that there has to be a silver lining in this, and if you look hard enough, you will find it, even if you don't see it right now. And maybe some of us like still can't see it, but I think at some point down the future, maybe even a couple of years, some of us will talk about these pandemic stories and just reflect back about how actually some people managed to survive and thrive during that moment. Awesome. Great. Alvin has something to ask you.
Yes, I love that, Jonathan. And I'd just like to dig a little bit deeper when you mentioned about push more and mentioned about adding value. Perhaps you can share with everyone here today a little bit more about push more, because I've been there. It's an amazing place that you have created. And perhaps what is one new thing that push more is doing during the pandemic, and you feel that you want to keep doing that right now, that add value thing?
Well, so I think when we talk about being in the fitness industry, we look at it in two sides. So we have the hardware. So I would say the hardware is basically the gym facility or your equipment, right? And then there's the software side, which is the trainer, the coaching, the knowledge, right? So when we're able to kind of bring both together, that's the perfect kind of combination that we're aiming for. But in this situation right now, okay, we don't have access to the gym facility, all right? But when there's a will, there's a way. So definitely kind of like initially at kind of start of this second MCO, I was kind of like, do I really want to kind of like put some effort into setting up something to work remotely with the guys and girls at PushMore, right? And at that point of time, actually when the MCO kicked off, I was about 3.5 weeks from my World Masters competition, which was an online competition. So I basically had to scramble around to set up a lifting platform and have equipment in my driveway, which is still there, to actually live stream and join the competition via Zoom. So so I was kind of like occupied with that, kind of leading up to that. But then what we did after that was, okay, looks like this lockdown is going to stretch out. So started thinking about, okay, what's the best kind of value that can be kind of created in terms of this period of time where we have no access to the gym. So questions are asked like, okay, right now, obviously, if you're aiming for sports performance, that's not going to be viable because there's not going to be any competitions that you can join within the next 6 months, right? Nothing is going to be happening in that arena. So second thing, okay, for those of them who are in sports, let's think about how we can maintain or stay on the ball. And for many people, I think because of the, being in the gym is very different because once you're there, you're there, you're in the presence of the gym. The hardest part, I think you may have heard the saying before, the hardest part is actually getting to the gym, but once you're there, you're good, right? So, and in that sense, when you're at home, it's so easy to just go to your couch and chill with Netflix, right? So what I was thinking, like, okay, let's set up something where there's some accountability and there's somebody to help you stay on board. Right. So what I did was I started this program called Fit at Home among our group of members, and the idea was that, okay, you basically log your workouts, you log what you eat, what you drink, and there's no like, oh, this is really bad, this is really good. It's all about making better choices, right? Because if you can make consistent better choices every day, it adds up, right? Rather than because it's different. If you do a little bit of exercise 7 days a week, you've got 7 workouts in, rather than one crazy workout that kills you at the end of the week, right? We've all done that. You feel guilty right now. I haven't worked out for like a week, or maybe longer, right? And then you just hit this big workout, you feel fantastic, you feel like you've accomplished something, and then the next 7 days you're broken, right?
Yeah.
And then the
I think a
cycle
lot of
repeats.
people would have done that today since many gyms are open today. They have gone and really crushed it. So they're going to feel it. But I totally agree. And it's just amazing how it's so true when you say that it's so easy to just, because you're at home, just to turn on the TV and just watch Netflix. But equally, it's actually very easy. So if you're giving the kind of accountability that you're giving with your members, it's actually easy to stay on track. As long as there's someone there, it's more accessible. Last time they have to show up to the gym to get some accountability. Nowadays, probably just a WhatsApp away and everyone is there. So that's there's two sides of the coin. Some people are doing very well during this pandemic, training more than they've done before. How about your members? Do you think they are how did this Fit at Home program work for them? What was the success rate? Or
well, I think in overall, of course, not everybody has had the same experience. Let's be honest. Things are really challenging, especially depending on what line of work you're in. So, but I would say majority of people have actually been seeing great progress. Like people who've been wanting to see a six-pack for a long time, suddenly saw a six-pack. Right? So I mean, this was one feedback. Like one of the guys, like, coach, I've never thought I'll see my six-pack, and suddenly like 6 weeks into this program, I'm like, wow, right? And it's all down to just being consistent, because like because let's face it, most of us are working from home. So the fact that he was working from home, he had actually more control over his time, and he was more structured, and he really made a lot of progress. And this is just one of the, I would say, I would consider a success story, because he's experienced something positive that he's never thought he would achieve. And this is never thought he would achieve. Like, I'm fine, like lifting weights and, being healthy, whatever, but if I don't get a six pack, it's fine. But then, suddenly it's like, I've got a six pack, right? So, and I think that's kind of like positive stories. And, a lot of it is mainly people saying, I'm able to stay on track. I'm able to kind of get my regular workouts in, and to a certain extent, I kind of customize program. So I've got when we talk about a program where there's kind of like for many people, there's a tendency for it to be what we call a cookie cutter, right? I'm sure you heard it before, it's that basically one size fits all, which is not true. So how I designed the program is that it has a general structure that's similar for everybody. But what happens is I modify it based on, number one, how much time this person has per week. train? Okay, how many sessions can you commit realistically, and how much time do you have per session? Then number two is what equipment do you have access to? Right? Do you have zero equipment? I only got a yoga mat and then myself. Then okay, we're gonna focus on body weight movements. Right? If I've got a dumbbell, we'll make use of it. If then of course for some of the athletes that I work with, they've actually invested in the full kind of weightlifting setup at home, so they go the full kind of mile with it. So then their programming is different to kind of incorporate more of the weightlifting movements or barbell movements. So when we talk about strength and conditioning, I think the term strength conditioning seems conjures, big guys lifting weights, barbells, machines, that kind of stuff. But really, what strength conditioning is, if you think of the term, is to make you stronger and to make you more conditioned. So whatever tool we have to do that, we use it. So that's what strength conditioning is to me.
Yeah, it's just that it's not in the gym, and people need to see it from that point of view, rather than the gym is closed and I can't do anything. But actually, there's lots that can be done, and of course, it's possible because they have a coach. If they're just figuring out things on their own and they're going to YouTube, they are really on their own. So I think the credit to you, like the success that your clients are seeing, is because of the coaching and the accountability that you've given them. Are you the only one like really looking after all the clients that in your gym, or do you have a team of people helping you?
Right now with PushMore, I think over the years, if we basically kind of leaned out how we've done things, and I do work with a small group, so it's manageable on my own. So I'm not talking about say working with 100 people. I'm talking about maybe say 20, 30 people, right? And the kind of fortunate thing for me is that prior to how this whole pandemic situation turned out for the whole world, I've already been working remotely with a number of people, not just locally, but also overseas. So in a way, this has accelerated my growth and development into working remotely. Okay, what's the best way? What's the best practices? How do we keep track of things? How do we keep account? Like what's communication will be like? So it was a learning process for me as well, because going from maybe say 4 or 5 people and suddenly going to a much larger group on my own, definitely was a learning curve. But I take it as experience, and experience is something that you can always gain and can never be taken away. So I'm kind of feel fortunate in the sense that I'm able to kind of gain this experience.
Yeah. So when the pandemic hit, it wasn't remote training was not brand new to you. You were actually already kind of prepared, which is great. And it's probably the reason why you're still here. You're still able to do this. You didn't have to shut down, and you were able to survive this whole 18 months of so much of uncertainty. Great. Well,
and it's very similar to something that you have shared too, Noel. I think we were talking past episode, like you were doing Heroes at home. Jonathan has started his remote program, and we all had something at the back. So when pandemic hits, it just allows us the opportunity to, hey, let me grow this instead of someone who just starting it out by themselves.
Yeah. So and I also feel very fortunate for us and smaller studios and communities, because we are able to. I feel sad for some gyms who they totally rely on people walking in to their shop lots and so on. These are the people actually who have shut down and weren't able to cope, because and it's sad. These are people that need the aid and the support that's supposed to come from the government. So I consider myself very blessed. I'm like all of us here actually are like super fortunate to be in the situation that we're in. Great.
Right. So Jonathan, as today's topic, we're talking about, will gyms evolve to survive or trust? And just like you mentioned about like your remote coaching, and of course we spoke about having stuff that you have done behind the scene, and right now pandemic, it starts to double or triple up, right? So for all business owner out there, how do you think they can adapt to this current situation? In the sense, like, how can a small gym studio start thinking, how can I diversify my business? How can I be like Jonathan to do something different instead of just getting revenues from walk-ins or membership or personal training?
Well, so that's quite a question to unpack. I don't have a ready answer to that. I've been thinking about it, like what can somebody do? And really, I think the most important is you gotta have an open mind, open heart, right? Why I say that. Number one, open mind is a willingness to kind of do things that you've not done before. So that's one. And then with the open heart, I think if you're doing it with a good purpose from the heart, I think it'll work. And if you're kind of thinking of it, I feel that if you just think of it from a revenue perspective, that may be kind of short term, because that's something that it's very immediate, but it doesn't go beyond that. So kind of like when I was thinking of conceptualizing this whole like remote training or fit at home program, I was thinking like, I don't just want to churn out a program so that maybe somebody would pay me fees to run this program, but I want to have a program that has value to it, right? Like, okay, what do I hope that somebody will achieve from doing this program for 6 weeks? So like at the kind of start of the program, I'll send an email out that, what's the point of this program? The program is of making better choices, about being consistent, about being healthy. This program, don't mistake it as a program where you're gonna lose weight fast, you're gonna get all leaned out, you're gonna build muscle mass. So that's not what the program is. That program Fit at Home is about getting you on track, getting you consistent and building good habits. So that's what I mean from the perspective of open heart. So I don't have a ready answer, but I have more of like a philosophical kind of approach answer where, every business owner has different choices they can make, and I can't answer that question for that person. But what I can say is, in terms of how I looked at it from a personal point of view, is that, okay, let's be open to doing things that I'm not normally comfortable doing, and maybe different from what I'm used to. Like, I'm very used to, I've been kind of in the fitness industry since what, late 2003, 2004, coming to about 18 years. And it's always been very face-to-face physical training, and suddenly we are hit with this pandemic situation where, everybody's on the screen, right? So it's definitely different from what we're used to, right? So I think number one is the willingness to kind of learn and do something different for what you're used to. And I think that number two is, do it from the heart, because we are all in this industry because we're passionate about what we do. So I think that's where it should come from. And I believe that if you have those two things in place, whatever you do will work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
You
really
said
why I
it
feel.
right there. You said that I don't have a specific advice, but actually your specific advice was there, which is to do it from the heart. When you take care of your clients and focus on their well-being, like if they came to you, you're now doing whatever, anything and everything that you can to help them succeed, even though the gym is closed. So you put their needs at the forefront, you serve them, you help them see their results, and eventually I believe it comes back. The focus may not be revenue at that point, but it comes back.
Yeah.
So you take care of the clients, or clients take care of you when you
Right.
need them. And that's just awesome. That's your secret. That's a secret, everybody. If you're wondering how do we survive this, what secret trick does Jonathan have? It's to actually care and love and just go over and beyond for your
Right.
clients. And it's harder now in this whole online situation, but that's so true. That's so awesome.
And
Jonathan.
and I think that, Jonathan, very interesting. You indirectly answered. I feel that is a niche to do that, because so many people out there are doing 6 weeks to six pack, 6 weeks to this, focusing on the results. But you in turn focus on the truth. What can you actually achieve in 6 weeks, and that care. And one of our favorite phrases, clients don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah,
So when you really put customer centric, customer first, put them first, I think later on revenue will somewhat come and chase you for it.
Yeah, that's so true. Awesome. Jonathan, how can someone get in touch with you to know more about PushMore, or what are you guys offering now for home? Like, is it available to anyone around the world? Like, what are some options on people to train with you?
Well, so I think the best way is social media. Hit me up, Instagram, IAMJWJW. Drop me a message, and then of course PushMore's IG as well. Not as active on the PushMore side, but I answer your messages. I may not be posting stuff, but I do answer messages. So you can drop a private message there, and I'll get in touch with you. So in terms of what we offer right now, it's going to be predominantly remote work. So and if you're from across the world, obviously be remote work. So there's two areas that I can't work on. Number one is right now with the Fit at Home program, it's been good, and I feel that it's if you're looking for something to help you keep on track, get you started, and just to build better habits and better health, this would be a great program for you. So it's 6 weeks. Why 6 weeks? Because 4 is too short and 8 might be too long. So 6 is perfect, right?
Yeah.
So 6 weeks is a 6 week program, and there's some certain criteria that you need to do. You need to log your workouts, you need to check in with me, um, and I think it's a very reasonably priced program. It's 480 ringgit for 6 weeks, right? So we do it's kind of an ongoing program. So if you're interested, just drop me a message. Now on the other part, because other than what I really specialize is kind of strength conditioning and weightlifting. So I've got to say that actually during this whole MCO, I've actually connected with a number of people to actually do weightlifting remotely, and as well as work remotely. Of course, these individuals do have access to equipment in their own places, in their own homes, and access equipment. But these are clients that normally, actually, all my remote clients prior to this were people I've worked with physically before, and then they've maybe moved back to their home countries, and then I work remotely with them. So now I actually have clients where it's 100% remote. I've never met this person physically before, right? So it's definitely a new challenge, and so far it's been great. They are able to move the way that is optimal for them, and they're able to see and feel tangible results from what we're working on, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely an option as well. So strength and conditioning and kind of weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting is definitely much more kind of one-to-one and individual. So that one will definitely be in terms of cost be on the high end, because that's a lot of time that needs to be spent on that. But again, if you're keen, hey, drop me a message. I'll be more than happy to kind of explore options that may work with an individual.
Okay. As long as you're one of those who reply messages on Instagram, that's good. Some people don't even drop me messages. So
Yeah, I may not
everybody-
be active in posting, but I do reply. Right.
So that's good. And everyone, you just need to go and look for Jonathan. It's IAMJWJW. You can tap the little arrow on top and you can find Jonathan's handle. You can find it on some of our posts before this as well. Make sure you follow him. Yes, he doesn't post as much, but you should go and see what he has posted. If you're thinking like, what is this weightlifting that he's been doing in his driveway? And you need to see this, because if I cannot tell you this, Jonathan, like I think you're the strongest friend I have. You are. You really are. Some people will say, oh, Noel, you probably need more friends. Like I would say, no, you don't know how strong Jonathan is. And he is. Everyone, you need to see the videos on his Instagram. You cannot believe that someone who doesn't, you may expect some sort of a big, massive guy like a Hulk. Let me tell you that he's strong. He's really, you have to watch those videos. Even if you're not going to ask him anything about his programs, just watch his videos and just say
feel
something.
free to stalk my Instagram page.
There you go. Go right there.
Yes.
And, he's like got 700 over posts there. I'm sure you'll find something that you can say something. Okay. Is there anything that that you want to share, Jonathan, that we didn't get a chance to ask you?
Well, I think like this kind of more of a general kind of outlook of things in coming in the future. Like things will continue to be challenging. It doesn't mean that the fact that gyms can open is suddenly going to be, hey, it's back to normal, right? So I'm under no illusions that's going to happen, and I'm sure for both of you as well. The reality of it is that there are many regulations that we need to follow if we are reopening our physical facilities. So there's like you said right at the beginning of the show, there's some people who are all right. The moment they see they can open, they're opening the next day. All right, and then there's some of us who are like, okay, hey, hang on, let's not rush into this, right? So I think in terms of the future, it's definitely going to be different and uncertain, because things are still kind of playing out in terms of the pandemic. There's there's new variations of the COVID-19 disease coming around. Like for myself, one of my concerns as well, and I feel that this may be so with people who are parents as well. The adults may be vaccinated, but the kids are not.
Yeah.
Right. So what if let's say myself, I'm exposed, and then I bring it home, and I expose it to my family who are not vaccinated. So that's a very valid concern, and that may play a role in maybe some individuals deciding, hey, I'm not ready to go back to a public facility right yet, right? So I think in that sense, as a facility owner, as somebody who's been, a coach, I think we need to find ways to continue to, share with the people around us, really, right? If hey, if you can't make it back to the gym or you're not comfortable with it yet, for whatever reason, let's find a way that works for you, right? So that's kind of like what I feel that we all should be doing. It's about finding a way to continue creating value for the people around us, the people we are influencing, and even for ourselves. Because like, at the end of the day, as somebody who's a fitness professional and in this industry, I'm motivated by number one, what kind of value can I create for the people that I'm working with, and number two, what can I learn on a personal level? What can I learn from working with different people? That's the exciting part for me. It's the experience gain from working with different people. That's really where it's at for me. Revenue, monetary, that's not important because money helps things to work, but that's not the end all and be all. For me, it's like, let's talk about, hey, are you purposely doing it to make money, or money is coming from that purpose, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it. I feel that it's going to be ever changing situation. I don't think there's any formula answer that would work. But I think the only way we can really approach it is kind of like on how we look at things rather than letting things kind of just push us around, right? Because the way the currents are flowing is flowing that way. Things are changing in that manner. This is how things are going to be, and we can complain all we want about it, we can be frustrated about it, but it's not going to change. It's COVID-19 is here to stay. It's going to be around for a long time. So we've got to learn how to adapt and live with it. Otherwise, we're just going to be really unhappy people. Right?
And we are grateful to have leaders like you who are leading the way and showing people how to handle this and how to just navigate this whole situation and to stay hopeful. That's awesome, Jonathan. I'm going to pass it to Alvin. He's going to very quickly introduce our next segment. And then we're going to come back very quickly. We have some surprise questions for you.
Okay.
The most juiciest question. Just kidding. But let's pass it to Alvin for us. He's going to introduce the next segment, and then we're almost done.
That's right. So next segment is basically Ask Us Anything. So Noel and I are going to look through Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram for questions. If you have any questions for Jonathan, for our topic today, for all three of us, we invite you to post your question in the comment box below on Facebook and LinkedIn. And on Instagram, you can post it on the little question mark box, and Noel will pin it up.
Yeah, if you have any technical movement kind of questions as well, Jonathan's not just a coach, but he is an educator, facilitator. He teaches other trainers. So, he'll be the best person to give you any answers to any questions that you may have. Lawrence is asking, who's the first one who's going to travel? If we had a chance to travel.
Who is the first one to travel? I don't think it'd be me. So I'm saying
I think it's going to be you, Noel.
Yeah, Alvin thinks so. So right, okay. Great. So keep the questions coming, my friends. Let's hit that question mark on Instagram. We're almost about to wrap up, but I have a few fun questions for Jonathan. And Jonathan, these are rapid fire questions. Okay, that means you got 10 seconds to give an answer. Otherwise,
okay, let's do it.
To the next one. Okay. Favorite movement to do at the gym?
Squat.
Great. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
If tomorrow you step outside your gym, let's say you're going to clean up or whatever, and you find a lottery ticket that ends up winning 10 million ringgit, what would you do with that money?
Well, I'll buy out the location where my gym is, so I don't pay rent anymore.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah. You're renting your facility now, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm renting as well. Okay, next question. If you had to be shipwrecked on a deserted island, but that island has all your human needs taken care of. I mean, sleep-wise, you can sleep, you got food, water, and all of that. But what are 2 items that you want to make sure you have with you?
I would like to have a Kindle and unlimited Wi-Fi.
Great. So he can learn. You see, he's just like what you said just now. He's non-stop learning. Awesome. If you had a choice between 2 superpowers, being invisible or being able to fly, which would you choose?
I think invisible would be cool.
That would be cool. He's going to sneak up
Because
on all his clients.
it's I think being invisible thing, right? You ever been in a party where it's so awkward, you want to leave but you can't leave, then you can just be invisible.
There you go. Okay.
So this is the closet introvert. It's like,
Useful
I want to leave,
advantage.
but it's not polite to leave, so let's just be invisible.
But nowadays with Zoom meetings, you can just turn off your camera and go, and no one knows that you're leaving. Okay, one last question: if you could liken or compare or compare yourself to any animal, what animal would it be and why? Look, the fireworks are back.
Yeah, fireworks are back. Neighbors having a sorry.
Okay.
So I'm in my upstairs hall, so you can hear it quite clearly. Animal. So I would say, like a dog actually. So because according to the Chinese zodiac, I'm born in the year of the dog, so 1982,
Okay.
right? So I feel that in terms of the dog, qualities of being loyal, being very dedicated, and being very single track focus. That happens to me. If I kind of do something, I can do that to the exclusion of everything else. I think it can be a bad habit, but I think in a way that if I find a bone to chew on, I'm going to chew on it until I get it done. Right.
That's right.
So I said that would be me.
I love that. And based on everything that you've told us today, if you were to, you've described a very dog-like attitude. Awesome. Okay, that's all the questions I have for you. We are officially done. My friends, if you're tuning in, if you have any questions for Jonathan, just comment below. Otherwise, we will put in our Facebook stream how you can reach out to Jonathan, the links to his Instagram, the links to his facility, PushMore. And that's it. We're gonna wrap up. Anything you wanna say, Alvin, or anything for Jonathan? I'm
just gonna say that in the end of the questions that you asked Jonathan, I think you successfully make Jonathan smile because from the poster we can yes, we see Jonathan was a serious look, and you can tell from his personality, but deep down I know Jonathan is full of love. He's always there, very down to earth person, and we are so honored and humbled to have your Monday night with us, Jonathan. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
There is one last question on Instagram,
yep.
Jonathan, and I'm sure you get this a lot. It comes from Jules Koo, who's asking, "What's the secret to your youthful look?"
Oh, this one from Julian. Well, I think number one, don't worry, be happy, right? Because I think it's for me kind of my approach to things in life, and of course this may not be for everybody, but this works for me, is that I would worry about something if I can find a solution for it. Right, you get what I mean? So if let's say I'm having a particular problem, right? Okay, thinking about it and being able to work towards a solution. Okay, but if there's something that it's moving forward, I can kind of work towards a solution, and it's worth spending my time kind of worrying or thinking about it. Then yes, that's worth my time. But if it's something that you're worrying about, which is uncertain, that's kind of an endless cycle and loop. So in that sense, don't worry about it, just do something else. Because when will the pandemic end? That's an open-ended question that nobody has the answer to. And you just create a lot of stress and anxiety from that, right? So instead, hey, I'm going to think about what I'm going to have for breakfast tomorrow.
So at least you have a solution. Right. I love that. I love how you squeezed in a life lesson there when someone asked you about your youthful appearance, but it's so true. That's so true. Okay. So, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Time is something that when you give it away, you can never get it back. So I appreciate you just being here and spending your 45 minutes, well, more than 45 minutes, because you came backstage and got the video and all of that working. I wish you well. I wish PushMore lots and lots of success and happy clients and people waiting to train, that your place will be bursting at its seams. One day, the day will come, okay? And I wish that for you guys.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
John.
bye, Jonathan. See
Thank
you.
you guys. Bye bye.